It's almost!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good...
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get the show started. Right, on the show today, India approves Pakistan crossing over for tournaments here, but multi-nation tournaments, but reports say our neighbour is uncertain. What is at play here? Why are they unsure of travelling to India, and are they playing tough now after all the drama? Chess gets another stunning moment with Gukesh beating Carlsen twice now in the span of a single month. This after Carlsen said Gukesh was one of the weaker opponents. Is Carlsen's supremacy under threat? And the sporting world is still in shock. Millions who celebrated football star Diego Jota are now in mourning, including Wimbledon, who've broken a 148-year-long rule. More on the show coming up, but first a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket, India's tour of Bangladesh is likely to be suspended owing to political tensions. Sources say the government has advised BCCI not to send the team in August. India is scheduled to play ODI and T20I series in August. BCCI is yet to take a call. Meanwhile, Australia were bundled out on the first day of the second test versus West Indies. Alzari Joseph picked up 4 wickets. Bo Webster 60 and Alex Carey's 63 restored order, helping Australia reach 286 at the end of day's play. On to tennis, former world number 1 Novak Djokovic surpassed Roger Federer in a record feat at Wimbledon. Djokovic beat Dan Evans in straight sets to make it to his 19th round 3 appearance. Another one doing that, of course, this ahead of Roger Federer. Another one doing that is world number 1 Yannick Sinner. He hammered Alexander Vukic in straight sets. Meanwhile, in women's draw, former world number 1 Iga Swiatek escaped a second round scare against Katie McNally. The American beat Swiatek in the first set. The 5-time Grand Slam winner then bounced back to win the match 5-7, 6-2, 6-1. And Mexican boxer Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is in federal custody and now faces deportation from America. Authorities said the boxer was in the country illegally and also has an active arrest warrant for his involvement in organized crime and trafficking firearms. Julio recently lost to YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul at a match in California. India and Pakistan's conflicts rage beyond the borders, and now it's spilling onto the turf. In the latest twist, Pakistan is dragging its feet on participating in the Hockey Asia Cup and FIH Junior World Cup. This despite the Indian government giving them the green light. Why? Is it hesitation or politics disguised as pride? The Pakistan Sports Board says their participation in both events remains unconfirmed, even though India's Sports Ministry and Ministry of External Affairs have clearly said politics won't interfere with sport. Yes, even after the tragic Pahalgam terror attack, India chose to take action. The Indian Hockey Federation followed the government's mandate, respecting the visa restrictions placed on Pakistan nationals. That's what first put Pakistan's entry in doubt. But the Indian government eventually chose diplomacy over discord, chose to be the bigger nation, and approved their participation in both tournaments, which India is set to host later this year. Let's rewind a bit even further. Despite public sentiment and calls to boycott all sporting ties with Pakistan, India has stood firm. The Sports Ministry didn't blink. Sports must go on. And guess what? They cited Russia and Ukraine. Even at war, those two nations show up and play. India, despite being the most affected party when it comes to terror, honoured its international commitments. But what about Pakistan? According to a top Pakistan daily, the country's sports board is still waiting for their own government's nod. So while India showed maturity and leadership, Pakistan still sits on the fence, undecided. Why the hesitation, especially when history shows the two have competed in multi-nation tournaments? India's tennis team travelled to Pakistan for a Davis Cup tie, a historic first in over 50 years. Pakistan's hockey team entered India via the Atari border for the 2023 Asian Champions Trophy. So let's not pretend this hasn't happened before. Back then, Pakistan wasn't concerned about security, so why now? And let's be clear, when India refuses to travel to Pakistan, it's because of security concerns, not personal vendettas. As India has always maintained, our fight is not with Pakistan, our fight is against terrorism. And the numbers prove why India has been skeptical to travel across to their neighbors. These numbers tell the story. India's caution isn't paranoia, it's taking precautions. In fact, last year, over 1,000 people died owing to terrorism in Pakistan, even more than the number of deaths in India in 5 years. Pakistan is also second in the list of countries to be most affected due to terrorism. So again, the question, why is Pakistan still uncertain? They know the consequences. A no-show could lead to major international sanctions and further isolation. So let's call it what it is then. This isn't about safety, this is about ego, about a nation stoking its pride instead of securing its sporting future. For a country whose sports system is already crumbling, this is the last thing they need, because the world doesn't wait and politics has no place on the pitch. Pakistan can choose to show up or continue to remain on the fence, the ball's in their court, but time, that's certainly running out. Victory tastes sweet when you prove someone wrong, but it tastes sweeter when you do so by putting that same person down. Gukesh has to feel vindicated today. The young Indian chess grandmaster beat Carlsen once again, and that's 2 wins now in the span of a month across 2 tournaments and 2 different formats. The question is, has Magnus Carlsen eaten humble pie just yet? So a quick recap, first of all, that led to all of this particular moment. Carlsen, for some months now, has been underplaying Gukesh's potential and performance on the world stage. This from the moment he won candidates right up to this day. Whether it was saying he would not win the world championship, to calling the fight with Ding Liren a pillow par battle, to questioning calling Gukesh a world champion yet, to now saying he's the weaker player in the tournament they're currently battling at. It's safe to say Carlsen has taken a fair share of digs at his far younger, inexperienced, in comparison, opponent. Gukesh hit back by taking joint lead at the Chess Grand Tour just a day earlier, and then, just hours ago, the double whammy. Gukesh sole leader after beating Carlsen yesterday. So here's the thing. Everyone brushed aside that win at the Norway Chess Tournament a while back because of various reasons. 1, time constraint played a huge role in that. 2, it was classical format, one Carlsen doesn't care too much for, a format he almost quit. 3, Carlsen is Carlsen, and this is a one-off. But this latest win is huge, much bigger, and a few reasons for that too. 1, it's a format Carlsen reigns supreme in. 2, Gukesh silenced Carlsen for something he said just days earlier, of Gukesh being the weaker player in this tournament. And 3, it's now 2-2. The moment was not lost on Gukesh.
Yes, beating Magnus is always special, for sure. I think this also gives a bit more confidence in a sense that, like, I just had a horrible position from the opening. I just mixed up something really bad. It's nice that, like 2 losing positions in a row, I could win against Magnus.
And that got chess world hopping about, reactions pouring in on what a big win this was for the sport, for Gukesh, for, of course, and its sense of reiteration of India's growing dominance in chess. One of the legends of the game even went on to say that it was time to question Magnus Carlsen's supremacy.
Now we can question Magnus' domination. This is not just his second loss to Gukesh, it's a convincing loss. It's not a miracle or that Gukesh just kept benefiting from Magnus' terrible mistakes. It was a game that was a big fight, and Magnus lost.
Guess what Carlsen's remarks were on his own loss, though? If you thought it would be him agreeing to eat his own words or swallow his pride and admit he may have made a wrong assessment here, think again.
Honestly, I am not enjoying playing chess at all right now. I don't feel any flow at all when I'm playing. I had one last chance at some point to bail out to something that was very, very drawish, but I thought let's continue playing. I have played kind of poorly the whole tournament, and this time I got soundly punished.
Carlsen spoke of the errors he made, that costed him the game, and that let Gukesh win, instead of praising the performance of his opponent on the day, who deserves every moment under the sun here today. This was a hard-fought and a well-fought win. Errors or no errors. It took tennis world number one Aryna Sabalenka a few days to retract her statement after the French Open loss in the final to Coco Gauff, where she said her mistakes made Gauff win the crown. I wonder how much longer will it take for Carlsen to make a U-turn in this matter. The football world witnessed one of its darkest days yesterday when 28-year-old Liverpool striker Diogo Jota passed away. A tragedy so sudden, so devastating. It's left stadiums silent, teammates shattered, coaches heartbroken, and fans across the globe, of course, in mourning. Jota was driving back with his younger brother, Andre Silva, when their car veered off the road, reportedly after a blown tire. In a split second, football lost one of its brightest lights. And in the aftermath, the tributes haven't stopped pouring in. Even Wimbledon, a tournament known for its strictest traditions, has broken its centuries-old protocol in his honor. Our next report pays tribute to the man, the footballer, the father, Diogo Jota.
Diogo Jota wasn't just a player. He was a warrior on the pitch, a devoted father off it, and a dreamer who turned his story into legend. In just 5 years at Liverpool, he delivered 65 unforgettable goals, a Premier League title, and an FA Cup. His hunger, his speed, his fire lit up Anfield like few ever have. For Portugal, he was just as vital. A two-time Nations League winner, a player who carried the flag with pride and power. He was a fan favourite, a fighter, a force. And off the pitch, life was beautiful. Just 10 days ago, Jota married his longtime partner, Ruth Cardoso. The two shared 3 young sons, a growing family, a new chapter, now cruelly cut short. While returning to Liverpool from Spain, tragedy struck. A suspected tyre blowout sent the car spiralling. Jota was behind the wheel. His brother, Andre, was beside him. To think, just hours before the crash, Jota's wife posted a reel celebrating their happiness. And just like that, everything changed. From the streets of Porto to the grand stages of the Premier League, Jota's journey inspired millions. Today, those very millions are grieving. It's not just fans feeling this pain. From Cristiano Ronaldo to Jurgen Klopp, the messages have been emotional, raw, and real. His teammates, his coaches, his rivals, the entire football family is in mourning. And in a moment that transcends sport, Even Wimbledon, steeped in centuries of tradition, allowed players to wear black armbands on court remembering Hotter. Because sometimes, the world must pause to honour a life lost too soon. Liverpool's iconic anthem says, "You'll never walk alone." And Joe Tarr never will. From Anfield to Estadio da Luz, his goals, his grit, his trophy lifts, his never say die spirit, his legacy will live on.
Time for Last Serve. We may not have flying cars just yet, but a first of its kind electric race boat that can fly just above water stole the show in London, a precursor before the all-electric race boat series kickoff. That wraps it up here on First Sports. I'll of course see you again after this weekend. Do take care, but do keep tuned in to First Post for Sports This Week Roundup.